In a world where harm travels fast, where words are weaponized and intentions are hidden behind smiles, where envy moves in silence and betrayal arrives wearing the face of friendship, have you ever stopped and asked yourself a real question? Why are you still standing? Not just surviving, standing with your faith intact, with your peace still present, with something inside you that has not shattered despite everything that has been aimed at it. You've been lied about. You've been misunderstood. People have made plans in rooms you were never invited into, whispered your name into conversations designed to reduce you, tried to reach into your life with hands full of harm, and yet here you are. Have you ever wondered why? Have you ever really sat with the reality that not everything aimed at you has landed? That not every door closed by someone's interference actually ended something? That not every storm that was sent in your direction actually destroyed what it came for? It is not your cleverness. It is not your connections. It is not luck, timing, or anything the world can take credit for. It is because Allah placed something around you that they were never equipped to cross. A divine protection that does not announce itself, does not require your maintenance, and does not depend on whether you even know it's there. It is active when you're asleep. It is present when you're unaware. It is working in the unseen while you are simply living your life. Is Allah not sufficient for His servant? Surah Az-Zumar 39:36. Sufficient, complete, entirely enough. And when Allah is sufficient for you, what they carry against you is never going to be enough to finish what He started in you. This video is for the person who've been wondering why they're still here. Why the harm keeps missing. Why the plans against them keep falling apart. Why peace keeps returning to a life that keeps being disturbed. Here are 7 truths about the protection Allah has placed around you and why they will never be able to cross it. 1. The harm that was sent to you and never arrived. There is a category of protection so subtly you have probably thought about it. Not the harm you survived, not the difficulty you walked through and came out of stronger, but the harm that was aimed at you, loaded, directed your way, and simply stopped. Not because of anything you did. Not because the person who sent it changed their mind. But because something stood between their intention and your life and said, not this one. Think about how many times in the last year something could have gone differently. A conversation that was happening about you in a room you didn't know about. That, for some reason, never produced the damage it was designed to produce. A plan that was in motion against your reputation, your peace, your relationships that quietly fell apart without you ever having to address it. A person who was walking toward your life with hidden intentions who, for no visible reason, suddenly redirected themselves somewhere else. You did not see these things. You could not have. But they happened. They are part of your story. And the reason they are part of your story the way they are as things that passed rather than things that landed is because Allah was already ahead of them. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, whoever says in the morning Bismillah, the one with whose name nothing can cause harm in the earth or the heavens. And He is the all-hearing, the all-knowing. Nothing will harm him until evening. Reported in Sunan Abu Dawud and At-Tirmidhi. Nothing will harm him. The protection is comprehensive. The scope is everything in the earth and everything in the heavens. And the condition is simply the sincere utterance of a name. The name of Allah over the day. You have been more protected than you know. The evidence is not in the dramatic moments where you clearly saw danger and were saved. The evidence is in the quiet ordinary days that passed without incident. In the sleeps you completed without being disturbed. In the paths you walked without encountering what had been placed there for you. And here is what makes this even more significant. The people who tried to harm you believe they failed because of their own miscalculation. They think they made a mistake in their plan. They think they chose the wrong approach or the wrong timing. They don't understand that the plan itself was blocked at the source. That between their intention and your life stands something they were never designed to overcome. And they will keep trying. And they will keep failing. Not because you are powerful. Because what is protecting you is too. Why the ones who carry hatred for you cannot find rest here is something you may not have thought about. The person who carries sustained envy or hatred toward you is not at peace. Not in the way you might assume. The surface may look calm. They may seem fine. They may even appear to be thriving. Laughing, social, going about their life as if the feeling they carry toward you costs them nothing. But underneath that surface is something the Quran and Sunnah describe with extraordinary precision. The Prophet, peace be upon him, warned, beware of envy, for envy good deeds just as fire devours wood. Reported in Sunan Abu Dawud. Devours, present tense, and ongoing consumption. While they watch you, while they carry what they carry, it is eating what is good in them. Their own worship, their own peace, their own potential for joy, all of it being consumed by the fuel of their resentment towards you. You are not affected by this. They are, and here is the deeper spiritual reality. A person who has made you their focus in a negative sense has pulled themselves out of their own alignment with Allah. They have made their emotional world hostage to your existence. Every good thing that happens to you restarts the cycle. Every time you rise, every time you are honored, every time something works out for you, it triggers something in them. They cannot rest. Not because of anything you are doing, because of what they chose to carry. And Allah does not leave this unaddressed. We have removed your burden from you, the one that weighed so heavily on your back. Surah Al-Inshirah, 94:2-3. The believer who carries burden willingly, who had the weight of trial and submitted it to Allah, has that weight lifted. But the person who manufactures their own burden through resentment and envy, that burden is not taken from them. They chose it. And they carry it with every waking hour they spend thinking about someone Allah has decided to protect. This is one of the ways Allah defends you without you even having to pray specifically for it. He allows the very thing they are carrying to become their own consequence. Their hatred becomes their heaviness. Their envy becomes their prison. Their obsession with your downfall becomes the thing that keeps them from their own rise. And you are simply living your life, moving forward, building in the direction Allah intended, unaware of most of what is being spent on you emotionally by people who were never meant to be able to reach you. Let them carry it. The weight of hating a protected soul is one of the heaviest things in this world. 3. What the light in you looks like from the side of the angels. You see yourself through the lens of your limitations, through the weight of your mistakes, through the memory of every time you fell short, every prayer that felt hollow, every season when the faith was more habit than feeling. But there is another perspective on you, one you do not have access to from your vantage point, the perspective of the realm that sees clearly. When you are in sujud, even the sujud that is hurried, even the sujud that comes after days where you barely maintained your prayer, the angels witness a human soul choosing to place its face on the earth before its creator. And in that moment, something is recorded that carries a weight you cannot feel from the position you are in. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, Allah descends every night to the lowest heaven when 1/3 of the night remains and says, who is calling upon me that I may answer him? Who is asking of me that I may give him? Who is seeking forgiveness from me that I may forgive him? Reported in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. Every night, the Creator of the universe descending in a manner that befits His Majesty, asking, actively asking, who among His servants is calling? Who is awake? Who is turning toward Him? And there are nights you have largely forgotten, where you were that person, where you woke in the dark and asked something of Allah in the specific brokenness of someone who had nowhere else to turn. And in that moment, from the perspective of the divine realm, you were exactly who you were supposed to be, a servant calling on their Lord. That moment is not forgotten. Those moments accumulate. And they accumulate into something that looks, from the perspective of the heavens, like a person whose record includes the specific quality of turning to Allah in the private moments, in the moments where no one was watching, in the moments where the only audience was the one who actually counts. This is part of what generates the protection around you. It is not just the formal worship. It is the specific, imperfect, tear-stained, desperate, sincere turning of a soul toward its Creator in its most private moments. That is what the angels witness. And that is what they are commissioned to guard. For why your peace is the most threatening thing about you. They expected something different from you by now. They expected the difficulty to produce bitterness. They expected the betrayal to produce hardness. They expected the repeated challenges to produce the specific cynicism that comes from a person who has been treated the way you have been treated and has decided to stop trusting, stop caring, stop extending the part of themselves that keeps getting hurt. And you didn't produce that. You are still soft in the places that are hardest to stay soft. You are still capable of genuine warmth with people who don't deserve automatic trust. You still carry a faith that isn't visibly injured by everything that tried to injure it. And you walk with a peace that has no business existing given what you have been through. That peace is not just comfort for you. It is a specific spiritual threat to everyone who is counting on your collapse. Here's why. The person who wanted to see you break was not just hoping for your pain. They were hoping for something more specific.